Now I know so much, and I'm so glad I didn't then, because I could just authentically be myself without so much preparedness.
It looks like the royal fairy tale has officially turned into a Hollywood horror story because Meghan Markle is running out of cash, options, and allies. It all started with what was supposed to be a $100 million 0-cents dream deal, but instead it lit the fuse on Meghan's financial downfall.
It's really hard to look back on it now and go, what on earth happened?
When Meghan and Harry signed their $100 million 0-cents deal with Netflix back in 2020, it was supposed to be their big Hollywood moment, a fresh start, a rebranding opportunity. But fast forward to today, and it looks more like a costly experiment that flopped harder than anyone expected. Behind the scenes, Netflix insiders have been quietly pulling away from the Sussexes. At first, there was excitement over their docuseries Harry and Meghan. The trailer made headlines, the series pulled in views, but it didn't take long before the cracks showed. Viewers weren't connecting the way Netflix hoped, and the content didn't have the long-term value they needed. By the time they wrapped season 1, Netflix executives were already on edge. They expected Meghan to bring more than just royal gossip. They wanted compelling storytelling, real production value, and content that could keep subscribers coming back. What they got instead was a series that felt more like a PR campaign than a documentary. Now, about that season 2 Meghan hinted at, let's clear it up. It's not a new series. It's a desperate attempt to repackage leftover footage from season 1. Netflix reportedly has no interest in continuing the project, but Meghan and Harry are pushing it anyway, hoping a new edit might spark fresh interest. So far, nothing. On top of that, rumors are flying about internal drama at Netflix. Sources say there's been tension between Meghan's team and top executives. Creative disagreements, missed deadlines, and a lack of clear direction reportedly caused friction. And with the contract set to expire this September, there's a lot of talk about whether Netflix will even consider renewing it. Right now, Meghan's biggest streaming project is in limbo, and if Netflix walks away, that $100 million 0-cents dream deal might end up being her last big check from Hollywood. Outside of Netflix, Meghan's been trying to tap into mainstream Hollywood, and the response hasn't been great. She reached out to several studios about acting again, pitching herself for roles that would showcase her new voice, but none of the major players took the bait. Universal Studios was the closest she got. Insiders say they offered her a $5 million 0-cents cameo role in a new comedy, an easy, high-profile opportunity that could have helped relaunch her image. But somewhere along the line, the deal fell apart. Rumor is Universal pulled out after reevaluating the public response to Meghan's recent projects. Too much baggage, not enough return. It's becoming a pattern. Meghan pitches a project, the room listens, but nobody bites. Producers are worried about drama, negative press, and audience burnout. It's not personal, it's business. And from a business point of view, Meghan's brand just isn't pulling the numbers anymore.
Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay.
After her podcast stalled and Hollywood passed, Meghan tried one more route: publishing. She entered talks with at least 5 major publishers, shopping a book filled with exclusive insights into royal life. This wasn't just any book pitch. It promised untold stories, personal truths, and yes, new drama involving the royals. But the timing couldn't have been worse. After all the fallout from the Netflix series and rumors about production issues, publishing executives started backing away. By the time news of her Netflix struggles hit the media, every single book deal had collapsed. One by one, the publishers ghosted her. Meetings were canceled, emails went unanswered. The message was clear: the risk wasn't worth it. Insiders also say publishers were concerned that Meghan's never-before-told secrets weren't actually that new. A lot of what she planned to reveal had already been covered in their docuseries, in Harry's memoir Spare, and in previous interviews. There just wasn't enough left to justify a big advance. Right now, there's no official book in the works, no publisher has signed on, and the one route Meghan thought would guarantee a payday has turned into another end. With major networks backing away and producers passing on her pitches, Meghan is now trying to fund her own comeback. Reports say she's been self-financing podcast productions under her media label Archwell Audio. The idea? Bypass the gatekeepers and take control of her narrative. But that plan is proving to be expensive and emotionally draining. After Spotify dropped her podcast deal, Meghan reportedly went into overdrive trying to prove she could still create a hit on her own. But things haven't been smooth behind the scenes. Insiders say production has been chaotic. There have been multiple delays, script rewrites, and even last-minute cancellations. One source claimed Meghan had several breakdowns during tapings, crying in between takes and struggling to stay composed during. She's also rumored to be involved in a new reality show tied to Amazon, not as a producer, this time as a subject. The show is said to center around her life, her struggles, and her attempt to rebuild. But here's the catch. The show wasn't Amazon's idea. It was reportedly pitched by Meghan's team as a last resort to keep her in the public eye. That kind of reality TV pivot is usually the final stop for celebs who've run out of other options. Even though she's trying to present it as new creative territory, insiders say the real motivation is visibility. Meghan knows that if she disappears from headlines now, she might not get another shot, other than accept that her brand has lost momentum. Meghan is looking for someone to blame. She's spoken publicly about misogyny and toxic Hollywood culture, implying that she's being unfairly targeted because she's a woman of color trying to succeed on her own terms. Behind closed doors, though, insiders say the tone is less about empowerment and more about frustration. Some sources claim she's convinced there's a blacklist against her in Hollywood, that big names are freezing her out on purpose. And she's allegedly angry at everyone from Netflix executives to podcast producers for failing to support her vision. But here's the thing, some of her own former allies aren't backing her anymore. There's growing frustration from people who once defended her, saying she's too focused on controlling her image and not willing to take creative feedback. A few even claim her expectations are unrealistic, and her unwillingness to collaborate has made her tough to work with. So instead of rebuilding bridges, Meghan might be burning the last one she had left.
It's a lot of pinch me moments right now. And at the same time, I think because I'm so busy with so many different things, and for each of those projects, as you mentioned, the show or the podcast or the brand, the business.
When you start adding up the missed opportunities, the numbers are huge. The Netflix deal was worth up to $100 million, 0 cents. But with most of that tied to content production and the company now distancing itself, it's unclear how much Meghan and Harry actually walked away with and how much they've had to return or write off. Then there's the podcast deal with Spotify, which was estimated at around $20 million, 0 cents. That ended early with Spotify execs publicly criticizing the lack of content. Multiple book deals collapsed during negotiations, costing her millions more in potential advances. The Universal film cameo that was on the table, that alone was worth $5 million, 0 cents, and would have led to more. Radio and digital content deals that were quietly shelved added to the pile of losses. Altogether, the estimate is that Meghan has lost out on over $200 million, 0 cents, in deals, either due to cancellations, broken negotiations, or projects that failed to launch. To keep Archwell running and maintain her public image, Meghan's been dipping into personal savings. She's investing her own money into productions, staff, legal teams, and PR. But without revenue coming in, that strategy won't last forever. And without major platforms backing her, Meghan's brand is in serious decline.
Let's take a quick look at the South Park destruction of Meghan and Harry, just because it's so funny.
It has been several months now since our beloved Queen has died. All Canadians are finding it hard to go on. All Canadians, that is, except for our first guest, the Prince and his wife. We want privacy! We want privacy! Thanks for having us on the show.
Now, there are rumours they might be suing, because they sue everybody over everything normally, especially if it's true, or if people are being intrusive because they want to save it for themselves so they can intrude on their own lives. Rob, do you care about these two?
Well, not really, but I'm married, so I have to pay attention to a little bit. So I read some of the stuff online just to see about it. With something like this, though, it's one of those things where you should just deflate the argument. Okay, it was funny. I made South Park. That's cool. We're doing well financially. Other places. I think if Harry sees this, which he might, if someone sends him a clip, he'll probably.
He'll have
laugh
seen it
about
all, but he can't. The thing about these two, Louise, they can't laugh at themselves.
Meghan and Harry already took a beating from South Park in their worldwide privacy tour episode, and now industry buzz suggests another round might be coming. Paramount insiders reportedly see the royal couple as comedy gold, especially Meghan, and aren't done poking fun just yet. And it's not just scripted TV. Social media has become a non-stop meme machine when it comes to Meghan's latest stumbles. From clips of her Netflix appearances being turned into reaction GIFs, to viral TikToks mocking her podcast performances, the internet has gone from supportive to sarcastic real quick. Even late-night hosts who once avoided targeting her out of respect are now throwing jabs without hesitation. Even her loyal fan base is starting to shrink. Longtime supporters who once defended Meghan's every move are now questioning her choices. Some feel misled. Others are just tired of the drama. The constant headlines, the self-produced content, the blame shifting. It's starting to feel less like a comeback and more like a slow public unraveling. She stepped away from royalty to carve out her own voice, but the empire she tried to build is slipping through her fingers. Without Netflix, without big studio backing, and with public interest cooling fast, Meghan may be looking at a long road ahead, one without the spotlight she once held. What do you think about Meghan's fall from fame? Is there still hope? Or has Hollywood spoken? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.